You've probably played a G, E minor, C to D loop 100 times. It's solid, but it doesn't sound like a song yet, and until you fix that, it'll keep feeling like practice and not music. This video walks you through a simple way to upgrade your go-to chords using subtle 7th voicings, without any jargon or advanced theory. So your ideas start sounding like full intentional songs and not just loops that you keep tinkering with. If you've ever played a progression and thought, this sounds okay, but not quite like music, then you're not alone. What's actually missing might be simpler than you think. Just one note per chord. Let's start with a progression. How does this make you feel? This is a perfectly fine progression in the key of G major, but it often sounds like you're just running through shapes and not expressing anything. There's no sense of character or movement. Now compare it to this version. This is where 7th chords come in. 7th chords add depth, smoothness and intent just by changing one note. Before we add new flavours, let's get clear on what we're actually upgrading, because once you understand the bones of a chord, you'll see exactly where and how to build on it. To begin, let's look at the C major chord. You've probably seen terms like 1, 3, 5 or root, third, fifth, but never quite connected them to the chords that you're playing. It all feels a bit like theory speak. So let's break it down. Most chords you know are triads, built by stacking 3 notes, the root, the third and the fifth. For example, a C major chord has root, C, third, E and fifth, G. Each of these plays a different role. The root gives the chord its name, the third defines whether it's major or minor, and the fifth adds stability. Once you know that, it becomes clear where a 7th should sit. It's not random, it's just the next note that you stack on top. 7th chords are a key part of the songwriter's toolkit, but if you want to skip the trial and error and discover how to write songs that actually sound like you, then click the link in the description below, and each week I'll send you the playbook that everyday guitarists need. Now that you know how a triad is built, the question is, what turns it into a 7th chord? The answer is just one more note, but that extra layer changes everything. Have a listen to this altered C chord. A 7th chord adds a note 1/7 interval above the root. That can be either a major 7th interval, which is 11 semitones or half steps up, or a minor 7th interval, which is 10 semitones or half steps up. Let's take our C major chord again, C, E and G, and if you add a B, which is 11 semitones above C, you get C major 7. Major 7th are the first type of 7th chord that we're going to discuss. Now have a listen to this next chord. This was an E minor 7th chord. This is a standard E minor chord with an added minor 7th interval, which in this case is a D note. Now, what do you make of this chord? In this case, I took a D major chord and added a minor 7th interval to it, which has a C note. You turn a triad into a 7th chord by adding one more note, either a major 7th or a minor 7th interval above the root. Let's start with the chord that sounds like a soft landing, major 7th. If your goal is richness without drama, this is the one that you'll keep coming back to. Have a listen to this simple 2-chord loop. Rather than playing a simple C to F progression, which can feel a bit plain, here I use C major 7 and F major 7. Instantly, it feels smoother and the transitions are more graceful. Your major chords might sound too sterile or abrupt, but major 7ths mellow them out, creating warmth without adding tension. They're especially useful on the 1 and 4 chords in major keys. So the key of C major, that's C major 7 and F major 7, as we heard. Major 7ths are built from major triads, with a major 7th added. They sound lush and relaxed, and they're perfect for softening the 1 or the 4 chord in major keys. Standard minor chords can sound a bit too moody or stark, but what if you could keep the depth and make them feel more hopeful? Consider this 2 chord change up and see what you think of it. We started with a regular A minor to D minor loop, but then sunk into the relaxed world of minor 7ths. This whole thing feels more relaxed, more fluid. Minor 7ths are a great way to take that slightly gloomy minor sound and smooth it out. They still carry emotion, but without being so heavy. If you want that expressive but grounded sound, minor 7ths are the ticket. Minor 7ths are built from minor triads with a minor 7th. They mellow out the standard minor chords and make progressions feel more fluid. If major 7ths feel stable and minor 7ths feel smooth, then dominant 7ths do the opposite. They create pull and tension and urgency. But used right, they make everything sound better. See if you can feel the tension in this next example. This was a nice simple 1 to 5 loop in the key of C major. But did you notice the strength of pull that the final G7 had? It made us long to hear the C major to resolve the tension. Dominant 7ths work especially well on the 5 chord. That's because they naturally want to resolve to the 1. This push and pull is an essential part of Western music. Dominant 7ths are built from major triads with a minor 7th. They create gritty tension that pulls your ear back to the 1 chord, which is why they're used in cadences and the blues. Knowing what the chords are is one thing, but when do you actually use them? Let's make this practical by walking through how to make swaps that sound intentional. Have a listen to this next example and see if you can spot where the 7th chords kick in. On repeat, I swapped all of the chords out for different 7th chords. I didn't rewrite anything, I just upgraded what was already being played. This gave us all the character of the various 7th chords that we've looked at so far. But how did I choose what chords to play here? Well, this was a simple 1, 6, 4, 5 progression in the key of C major. And for each chord in any major key, you can sub in one of the 7th chords discussed. Chords 1 and 4 can be played as major 7th, 2, 3 and 6 can be minor 7th, and 5 can become a dominant 7th. If you know the Roman numeral, then you know the 7th chord to use. That one swap can change the whole feel of your progression. You just learned how subtle chord tweaks like 7ths can unlock emotional depth and make your progression sound intentional. But what if the real magic isn't in the chords themselves, but in how you move between them? Watch this next video to discover 5 simple ways to turn even the most basic chord changes into a fluid, expressive moment that actually sounds like you.